Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Thank you, Mr. Randolph. I would simply like to say that I think this has been one of the great days of America. And I think this march will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, demonstrations for freedom and human dignity ever held in the United States.
So the thing that relatively few people know about the speech, and in some ways one of the most interesting things, is that the I Have a Dream section is not in the text of the speech. The night before the March on Washington, one of King's key lieutenants, Wyatt T. Walker, says to him, "Don't do the I Have a Dream thing, it's trite, it's a cliche." He's delivered I Have a Dream several times, including a few months earlier in Detroit, a week earlier in Chicago, and they think he should be kind of swinging for the bleachers. There's a kind of lively discussion about where he should go with his speech. What is he trying to do with it? At the end of this discussion, which takes place the night before in the lobby of the hotel, he says, "Thank you, everybody, I'm off to council with my Lord," and he goes upstairs to finish crafting the speech. He doesn't finish until 4 o'clock in the morning and then gives it off to be typed. And then he makes his way to the mic, probably about 3 or 4 o'clock the next afternoon. And he stays, for the most part, fairly faithful to the text. He says, America has given the Negro a bad check. And by that he means we were promised equality by the Founding Fathers. We were promised equality by the Declaration of Independence. We are here to cash that check. And he decides to go with that metaphor as opposed to the dream. And he gets to a part where you can clearly see that he is winding down. Go back to Mississippi, go back to Alabama.
Go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed.
Now at that point, Mahalia Jackson, who is sitting behind him and has just been singing "I've Been Buked, I've Been Scorned," shouts to him, "Tell him about the dream, Martin, tell him about the dream." There's good reason why King would have listened to Mahalia Jackson. Mahalia Jackson was a close and intimate friend. When King was feeling down, he would call her for what his advisors called gospel therapy, and she would sing to him to soothe his nerves. And so I'm sure that emotional connection makes a difference in that moment. And Clarence Jones describes how, having heard that, King puts the text to his left and grabs the podium in a certain way. Clarence Jones turns to the person next to him and says, "Those people don't know it, but they're about to go to church." And he describes how King's posture moves from looking like a lecturer to looking like a preacher. Now, you have to remember here that King is the third generation of African-American preachers, and that the black preacher has a particular role in black American politics under segregation, in particular because the church was the one autonomous place that black people could organize. The preacher was generally not dependent on white money. He would have been supported by the black community, which means that they can speak out in a way that others can't for fear of being fired. And they are the most likely to be literate and to be articulate. What's amazing is that it takes place, at this time, in such a public forum, and that it's the "I Have a Dream" speech was not in the text of the speech.
Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.